Welcome to Tried and True with a Dash of Woo, where we're all about mixing tried and true strategies that actually work with the magic of manifestation and the science of programming your unconscious mind so that you walk away feeling integrated, inspired, and aligned. I'm Renee Bowen, certified life and business coach, professional photographer, middle-aged wife, and mom to now 3 grown kids. I've built 2 multiple 6-figure businesses with 0 business training by digging in, learning the methods, and now I'm here to pass them all on to you. From photography and business strategies to energy healing, human design, and the basics of manifestation, we cover it all here. I'm here to help you embrace your multi-passionate brains and lean into the fastest and most efficient ways to reach your goals, whatever they may be. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, or maybe you're just here for the woo-woo, let's dive in and explore all the exciting ways to take your life, business, and self-improvement to the next level. Thanks for joining me, and get ready to be inspired. Hey guys, and welcome back. Okay, today we are jumping right in because I've outlined 10 things, 10 tips, 10 strategies, whatever you want to call it, that you can use right now to get out there and get yourself some more clients. Now, I work with mostly photographers and some other creatives as well in my coaching business. And one of the main things I'm hearing from a lot of you guys in my DMs, on coaching calls, discovery calls, is that you don't have enough clients. Now, some of you guys aren't marketing enough, and we're going to kind of get to that a little bit here because, again, it's not a one-size-fits-all. You can't just tell someone, well, you just need to market more, especially if you have a creative brain like you probably do. It's going to be really hard for you to actually be able to get that done for many reasons. And I'm going to cover some of that in today's episode. So the idea is that you're going to be able to walk away after listening to today's episode and go out there with some strategies to actually get in front of the right clients for your business. All right, let's go. Number 1 is you've got to set the right goals and intentions. Now, some people don't like to use the word goals for whatever reason. Again, you have to know and find out what works for your brain, because some people, when they hear the word goals, they run. Okay. Some people really love that word. If you don't like it, you can use intention or something else that, feels better to your brain, basically. But here's the deal. When you set 3 big goals that you want to achieve in your business, so that's number 1. I want you to write out 3 really, really big goals that you want to achieve, okay? High level stuff, maybe income or average sale or the number of clients you want to work with by a certain date. Here's the thing. When you do that, you're directing your brain, right? So we know that this matters in neuropsychology and neuroscience, but you're also setting the intention and you're putting it out into the universe. So it is twofold. There is a strategy there, and there's also a little bit of the woo. Look at it like this. When you get in the car to go somewhere and you don't know where that is, we're really spoiled. We have Google Maps now. If you're old like me, you remember having to actually physically look at maps. But in any case, you have to at least put in the address to figure out how to get to where you're going. A lot of you guys have started your businesses like willy-nilly, right? You fell into it. Maybe somebody told you were good at it, or you're just really talented at something. And so you figured, hey, what the heck? I'm going to try and make some money at this. Awesome. I love that for you. But if you don't have a destination in mind, you don't have the clarity on what you want that business to look like, you're going to have a really hard time getting there. Your GPS is not going to know where to go. So I want you to do more than just 1 goal. I want you to put 3. And I don't want you to worry about how to get there. That's the GPS's job, okay? Your job is to just put the destination in to your Google Maps. The how is what evolves once you put this intention in place. But again, so many of you guys have not even done this. Maybe you've done it, but you've done it on someone else's terms. Maybe the goals that you have for your business are not even really yours. Maybe there's somebody else's. Maybe there are another photographers or someone else that you've been following. Maybe that is top of mind for you. And that could be one of the main reasons why you're not getting clients, is because it's not aligned with who you are and where you want to go. So I want you to get clarity on this. Okay. Clarity is number one. And then after this is still number one though. We're still on the first tip here. Once you write out those 3 big goals, the main goals that you have, the intentions that you have for your business, do at least 3, by the way. Okay. Once you write those out, I want you to be able to put it somewhere where you see it every day, whether it's on sticky notes or something that you write on a calendar that you look at every day, or maybe it's on your phone screen, your lock screen, or maybe your vision board. I like to do a vision board that's like a digital one that I can see every day on my computer screen. Wherever you put it, I want you to look at it every single day, okay? And then I want you to take a second. It takes 1 second, guys, to actually feel in your body what it's going to feel like when this happens. Give yourself a minute to really feel it, okay? Because your unconscious learns by experience. You've probably heard me say that a lot. It's true. You have to give it the experience, because the cool thing is that our unconscious mind doesn't know what's real and what's made up. So you can make it up, but you got to feel it. You got to give it the experience. So I want you to feel like what it's going to feel like to have accomplished this. Okay, from here, you need to find your why. I've talked about this a lot on a lot of my social channels, and it's one of the baselines of my coaching. Everybody who coaches with me, whether you come in with a group or one-on-one, you go through a course, you're going to get some kind of guidance on finding your why, because as Simon Sinek says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So I cannot stress this enough, guys. Your why is not what you do. Your why is not, I shoot seniors. I'm a wedding photographer. I sell, things on Etsy. That's not your why. That is the what. Your why is your purpose, okay? And the what is your passion. So you have to get clarity on this. And if you have not done the work on it, this should be like priority number 1 for you. The reason why this is so important is because it's going to fuel all your marketing. And until you get clarity on this, you're really going to feel like you're marketing to everybody, and it's going to be really hard for you to get clients. It's also another main reason why I see people not market. You go to post and you feel like, this doesn't really resonate. I'm not really sure who I'm talking to. I don't think they're going to care. All of these thoughts, start swimming in your mind. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just not even going to post anything. I'm just not going to say anything. That's because you don't have a really good idea of why you're doing this. So how are you going to be able to communicate that in any kind of marketing? You can't just expect people to intuitively know, especially if you don't know. Now, I'm a big believer that you do know. You just haven't discovered it. You just haven't highlighted it with your highlighter. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to highlight it with your highlighter. And if you're in my classes, if you're in any of my courses, you have access to a really in-depth module on how to find your why. I've done a lot of this work for you guys, and I walk you through it. And if you're one-on-one with me, I walk literally with you. I hold your hand through that process, and even in my groups. So in Elevate, you do have access to this content. Obviously, the higher levels of Elevate are going to have more of a high-touch experience in me walking with you through it. But even at the foundation level in Elevate, you have access to the basics of how to do this and how to do it in a very efficient way, because I've been doing this a long time with photographers in particular, and I know where you're going to get stuck. I know where you're going to get hung up. So I've created the content to specifically guide you through it. I had a coaching student just recently tell me that she has literally been trying to figure this out for over 3 years on her own. And it's been a huge roadblock for her. It's one of the main reasons why she isn't putting herself out there, why she isn't standing in confidence? How can you be confident in something you don't really have a clear understanding and clarity about? So she's like, oh my God, I finally feel like this is all starting to make sense. And your why is not about necessarily what you want to photograph. Like I said before, it's not your what, okay? Your why is your purpose, like your greater sense of purpose. It's very hard to do this on your own sometimes because you're kind of too close to it and you don't really know the right questions to ask yourself. So that's why it can be really powerful to do it inside of a group coaching program or one-on-one. But if you don't have access to that, you got to start somewhere. So at least outline your foundation of what are the things that really make you you. Can you identify some stories from your past that really, really impacted you? And maybe not just positively, maybe negatively too, because all the roads lead to why. It's just like, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but I just saw the new movie, The Flash, or Flash. I don't even know if it's The Flash. It's the new DC movie, right? So they're talking about how going back in time and changing timelines can really mess things up. And time travel is, super cool and fascinating to me. But one of the things they say in the movie is this pain and tragedy that we go through make us us. And would you really be who you are had those things not happened in your life? Now, I'm not saying that there are a lot of people who have dealt with a lot of trauma. So I'm not trying to minimize that, but I do want to offer a different lens and help you see that maybe some of the things that have occurred that are not ideal are why you are you and are why you do what you do. So it's time to focus on that. If you want more clients, if you want to communicate your value, especially if you are a higher end photographer, you're charging a lot for what you're doing, you really need to get clear on this because people are not going to invest at a high level with you unless they really know why you're doing this. And it's up to you to tell them. Okay, number 3, you got to know who you're talking to. Who is your target client? This is not just surface stuff, okay? It's not just like, okay, my target client is a high school senior who goes to this high school. No, we're talking, where do they go after school? Where do they shop? What do they love? You got to get into the brain of this client. Now, little tip for you, side note here, is that in senior photography in particular, we have 2 target clients. We have the high school senior and we also have the parent. And if you're not marketing to both of them in ways that they understand and want to be marketed to, then there's going to be a disconnect and it's going to be hard to get clients. Because while yes, the parents are the ones investing in the experience and paying us, more often than not, our Gen Z high school senior is the one who is calling the shots on who gets hired. This is a trend I have been seeing for the last at least 4 to 5 years in my market. Some of you guys are just starting to see it in yours. If you haven't seen it yet, it's coming. I've been researching Gen Z since 2014. And we're on the cusp of Gen Alpha. So if you haven't even made the switch to marketing to your Gen Z client, you really need to do that now. And I have some free resources like on my coaching site, reneebowencoaching.com. If you go under store, you're going to find a bunch of free stuff. And one of them is Gen Z trends. So start there. There's some other things as well. I talk about Gen Z a lot, you guys. Maybe I'll do a whole podcast on just that. If it's something you guys want to do, tell me your feedback on that and let me know. But our Gen Alpha clients who are coming up right behind them are even more savvy and harder to market to than Gen Z. So if you're not marketing to your senior client and you're relying solely on your parents, that might continue to work for a little while, but it's probably not going to sustain you because trust me, I see photographers in my DMs and in my coaching every day who don't understand why their business has dried up. And this is one of the main reasons. You still have to market to the parent. Don't get me wrong. But the parents of Gen Z clients are allowing them to decide who gets hired and also what they buy. I see it in my sales sessions all the time. So you have to make sure that what you're offering is in line with what your Gen Z clients want to buy. They want to have, because they're the ones holding the purse strings 9 out of 10. So this tip, this knowing your target client, if you're a wedding photographer, if you're a boudoir photographer, if you're not a photographer, and let's say you're an interior designer or a graphic designer, you have to know who your target client is at a very deep level. Okay, there's that old saying that says, treat someone the way that you'd like to be treated. I want you to forget that in reference to your target client. You need to treat people how they want to be treated. And the only way to understand how they want to be treated is to get to know them at a very deep level. Now, there are a lot of different ways you can do this. I do have a free PDF also in my store called Target Client for photographers that you can download to get you started. But this is also more deep work that you really just can't gloss over. Okay. So we're talking socioeconomic, demographics, academics, do they vacation? Do they invest in luxury items? You would definitely be looking at some of those indicators of financial success if you are looking to build a luxury business like I teach people how to do. But it goes deeper than that too, right? You really need to understand them at a psychological level, because when your clients feel like you understand them and you get them and you're saying words that they have in their head, that's when your marketing clicks. Moving on to number 4, once you understand your why and you can express it very easily and you know who you're speaking to at a very deep level, and then you can go ahead and craft your mission statement and your elevator pitch. These are super important because a mission statement really should be like a longer piece of content that's kind of just for you, but you can use it as a baseline for when you are stuck writing copy, or you can copy and paste it into Chat GPT so that it can help you come up with the right copy. I'm going to do a whole podcast on how to use Chat GPT for photographers. So little side note, that's coming, but that's one of the things that you can use a mission statement for. I want you to put it up somewhere that you can look at every day and read and get in your body and really feel it. It could be a few paragraphs. It doesn't have to be 2 or 3 sentences. It just has to align with you and what you want to accomplish in your business, right? If you've done all the steps before this, then coming up with your mission statement shouldn't be that difficult, because the steps before this are the foundation for that. But again, you got to look at it. You got to see it every day. You got to feel it in your body. It's also going to help propel you toward it. It's going to tell the universe that this is what you want and you desire, and you're open to all the goodness that comes from you having this business. So your mission statement is really for you, right? It's kind of like your why. It's not like you're going to put that front and center on your website, but it definitely can be reworded in many different ways and reiterated in many different ways all over your website and socials. In fact, that's the idea. You want to come up with this core meaning of your business, this mission statement, and then express it in many different ways. Your elevator pitch is supposed to be short, right? This is something that you're going to tell somebody who asks you at a party or wherever, what do you do? And I want you to come up with an elevator pitch that is in line with your why, right? The idea is to tell them a really short statement of what you do, but really why you do it. And for them to go, that's interesting. Tell me more. Maybe it's the first part of your mission statement. Maybe it is, I create transformational experiences for high school seniors. Really, the idea is for this to be something that makes people stop and go, oh, that's really interesting. Tell me more. And then you could elaborate and draw upon that mission statement. Moving on to number 5 is your branding. Okay, now this is a really big topic. I get it. We could do a whole podcast on just branding. But what I really want you to hear from me today is that it doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't have to cost you a lot of money, but it does have to be aligned with you and your why. And it needs to be able to communicate your brand message and your brand voice to your target client effortlessly. You want your branding to work for you. Okay. So this is a very, it really trips people up, this whole branding thing. And so you end up kind of just throwing things together sometimes. And I do want you to accept sometimes you got to do it messy. I'd rather you do it messy than not at all. But what matters with your branding is the consistency of it. So make sure that your brand voice and message is consistent across all your channels, your website, all your social stuff, so that when people do find you on TikTok or Instagram and then go to your website, it feels like a seamless process. And it just is supposed to build upon the experience that they have with you and not be jarring. So that's really what I really want you to hear today as far as the branding goes. Once your branding is consistent and seamless and does a lot of the work for you, it's going to help your marketing. And in turn, you're going to get more clients. Again, this has a lot to do with how your target clients perceive you, how your target clients want to be spoken to. So don't gloss over that. You got to make sure that you're doing the work there. But again, I don't want your branding to cost you a lot of money, especially if you're just starting out. This is something you can actually build upon. I definitely know the value firsthand in investing in a branding expert and having someone design a beautiful logo, because I've done that. But when I first started out, I couldn't. And so I get that a lot of you guys are bootstrapping your business, and I'd rather you just get out there and start making some money rather than letting this step hold you back. The reason why I put this on the list is just because of the consistency, because of the messaging, because of the storytelling. If you have not read Donald Miller's Building a Story Brand, go get it right now. Highly recommend. I listened to it on Audible. So you really can get through it in a fairly short amount of time. And it's really jam-packed with so much good information. The idea builds upon the whole why that I went over. People are going to buy why you do what you do and not what you do. But at the same time, people want to know what you're going to do for them. Okay, so when they hit your website, it's got to be clear. It's got to be clear what you do and what kind of pain points you're hitting, what pain points you're solving for your clients. So that is all some really deep work that you definitely need to do. But when it's cohesive, that branding does so much work for you. It gets people not just interested in you and, clicking your website link from your socials, but it builds a bridge. It builds connection. And also what I want you to hear from this branding topic today is that your brand is you. Okay. If you're a creative, especially if you're a photographer and you're running a business of any kind, you have to show up in your marketing for that brand, because more often than not, and this is not just for our Gen Z clients, although it is a very big bullet point for our Gen Z clients as well. But all of your clients want to know the person behind the brand. Okay. So even some of the really big brands that you're used to seeing out there, they're becoming more and more accessible to people because they want people to feel connected. Let's face it. Everything is so saturated out there. So how are you going to cut through this noise? This is one of the main ways you're going to stand out is your branding. And it shouldn't look like everybody else's. Okay. So the last thing you want to do is go to look at some of the other photographers in your town and copy what they're doing, or use the same font, or use the same colors. First of all, it's unethical. Second of all, it's illegal. Thirdly, it's a bad idea. You want to stand out. You don't want to fit in. You want people to hit your socials and your website and go, oh my God, this is different. Okay. Yeah. If you're a photographer, your images will definitely do some of this work for you, and they should be good enough to make people stop. But your branding needs to be aligned with it so that it also plays a part in, wow, this is something different I haven't seen before. The more you can stand out, the better. Photographers, a lot of you guys are struggling and cannot get clients. This is something that I have heard across the board from so many of you guys in my DMs, on discovery calls recently. Y'all are hurting for clients. You do not have consistent leads. And a lot of you guys had really good businesses, and now it's dropped. So the reason I created my group coaching program, Elevate, is because of this. This is one of the main reasons I still even run it. I gotta be honest with you. I put a lot of my time and energy into creating this, and it's really not as financially profitable for me as my one-on-one coaching is. But I really, really love offering it because there's a $49 level, you guys. You can jump in this, get the coaching you need, get the marketing you need, and the mindset you need. All right. Look, all the details are in the show notes. I'm not going to go into a lot of it right now, but I wanted to remind you that it's closing. The top 2 levels are closing on July 5th. And if you're struggling even in the slightest, you owe it to yourself to check it out to see if this might be right for you. Shoot me a DM over on Instagram at Renee Bowen if you have any questions about it. I'm happy to chat with you. But look, don't wait too long to get the help you need because I don't want to see your business die out. I want you to continue to thrive. There's a lot of reasons why a group coaching program works. Mine is really different. You can go to the show notes to the link down there. It's renee.io/elevated to get all the information and to see a lot of testimonials because I have a lot of returning clients. It's one of the best things about this program is that I've been working with some of these photographers for over 3 years. And I love that they continue to come back and participate in the group. They get a lot out of it. And I know you will too. So I hope to see you inside. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, number 6. So the first things that we were talking about, a lot of foundational stuff. Really, really, really important, guys. This next one is, I think that a lot of you guys are trying to do this, but a lot of you attempt it and then you stop because you either don't know what to say or you get a no answer right away and then you don't try again. So number 6 is you need to be working with other businesses. You need to look at your local market and harness the power of your local market. This was integral in how I built my senior photography business. I didn't have teenagers. I didn't really know a lot of people with teenagers. So I really had to engineer this and figure out where are those clients? So I want you to think about, you've done that foundational work of knowing who the client is. Where are they physically in your local market? Maybe you are in a small town and you're saying, Renee, you know what? I don't really have a lot going on here. Look, I get it. I grew up in a town with 1 traffic light. So I understand small towns, but there's got to be somebody else who's at least attempting to attract the same client as you, or maybe they already do. The idea is that you've got to do a little recon here. You got to do some research and figure out who that business owner is, what they're about. Do they align with you and what you want to do? How can you connect with them? Anytime you are going to approach anyone to work with you, by the way, you want to lead with how you can help them. That's rule number 1. So never really walk into a business and be like, hey, I'd love to borrow clothes for my shoot. You got to walk in there as a fan of the business. So do your homework on that person and that person's business. Go in there with a plan. Go in there making a connection and saying, look, I love your business. I'd love to help you get in front of more people. Can we talk about what that would look like? I would love to collaborate with you on something. Go in there with an idea. Maybe it's a photo shoot you have an idea for, or maybe it's an open house, or maybe it's a trunk show or a fashion show, or, make it work for your market, whatever that is. Be a connector. Be a connector in your local market. There could probably be 2 or 3 businesses who would like to go in on one event, right, with you. These kind of things are really powerful because of the cross-marketing that happens organically. It's a big part of how I built my business so quickly and built it so strong. So I want you to make a list of 5 to 10 other businesses in your local area that you could approach to work with you in some way. And then you need to come up with a plan for at least 3 of those, right? So go through your list, decide which 3 you want to focus on first, and approach them with your plan. The next thing is do not take no for an answer. If someone says they're not interested, okay, do not take this personally. Use it as a lesson, use it as a learning experience, and move on to the next one. Not everybody's going to say no, Okay. You cannot let one person who says no deter you. Look at some of the greatest success stories of our time. Many of them, most of them were rejected and told no many times before someone said yes. The Duffer Brothers, the people who created Stranger Things, I think they shopped it around to like over 20 networks. They all said no. They didn't give up. And neither should you. Number 7, I have to include, even though you do not want to hear it. And I know a lot of you guys get the hives when I say it, but yeah, social media marketing. And I know a lot of you guys really hate showing up for your business, but here's the thing. If nobody knows about you, you're not going to get business. And if you've been following me for even a little bit, you know that I love me some TikTok. Okay. And if you're a high school senior photographer and you're not on TikTok, what are you doing? You have to get on there. I'm sorry, you do. It is where your clients are. It is the most unique platform and the highest growing, like all your clients are there. Okay. Here's the thing about TikTok too, you guys. There's a lot of the like little things about it that I think make it very unique and positioned really well to get you business. But it's the comment section. Okay. This doesn't happen on Reels. On Reels, a lot of people are even looking at some of that content without sound on. You don't go on TikTok without your sound. Even though people mostly use captions there, you just don't. It's like a given. You don't go on TikTok if you're in a public place because you know you need sound. But on Instagram Reels, you can watch Instagram Reels without the sound on. And you very rarely are going to look at the comments. The comment section is front and center on TikTok. And it's part of the conversation. What's really interesting and cool about it is that you are watching content with other people. It is a connected experience. And so a lot of people don't realize this, and a lot of people don't understand that the comment section is gold. Really. That's just a little side note tangent that I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of TikTok in this podcast. Maybe I'll do a podcast just on TikTok. I think it's probably very much needed. So I'll put that on the list. But what I want you to hear today is that social media does not have to be so scary. One of the main reasons why you don't like showing up is because you don't really feel connected to your why and your purpose. But you know what? If you've done the steps before this, then you are going to be connected. And another reason why I hear photographers, especially who don't want to show up, is because, they don't feel confident. They don't like being on camera. Nobody cares what I have to say. All of these different things. Here's the thing. Everything that you do the first time is going to feel scary. But I want you to really start thinking about what it's going to feel like to have done it instead of what it feels like in the middle of doing it. This is a reframe that is really, really powerful that you could use for anything in your life. I use it all the time, especially for things that I just really don't want to get done. How am I going to feel when it's done? How am I going to feel when this is complete? Focus on that feeling and it's going to pull you to it so much faster. The other thing is that you can absolutely get the training you need to get comfortable on camera. And all that looks like is you practicing and desensitizing yourself. Open up your camera and just talk. Don't ever do anything with them. You can also do it on Zoom. Sit there, give yourself like 5 bullet points to hit and just start talking. The more you do this, the more desensitized you're going to get to hearing your own voice and looking at yourself, and you get over it so much faster. You also don't have to produce all your content alone. If you've got clients already, you have to be using behind the scenes, okay? This is like one of the most powerful things you can be using, and a lot of you guys aren't doing it at all. So if you don't have an assistant or someone who comes with you on photo shoots, or if you are, an artist and you paint or you draw or you're a muralist or whatever you're doing, like, right, as you're doing your thing, whatever it is, just open your camera, put it up on a phone stand and record it. I don't care if the video ends up being 10 minutes long. You're not going to use all 10 minutes of it, but you can go into it and splice it up into under 10-second little clips. And that's what you need to be doing. People want to see how you do what you do. They want to see the realness behind the brand. They want to see that you are an actual person. They want to see that they can connect with you. They can't do that if you're not giving them something to look at. So not all your content needs to be you talking on camera, but it does have to be authentic in a way that shows your clients who you are and what you do, what your process is. So using behind the scenes is the easiest way to do this. Honestly, don't worry about what you're going to do with the content right now. Just get the content, right? So on your next photo shoot, if you can't get the mom to get some content, bring a phone stand and prop up your iPhone and just click record. A lot of what you get is not going to be usable, but I bet you're going to get at least a handful of 10-second clips. So again, this is not a podcast on social media marketing. I just wanted to highlight the fact that it is a big part of your marketing plan. And if you don't have a marketing plan or a strategy, that is also another reason why it's going to feel hard for you to show up, because you don't have a plan. And that's number 8, guys. You need to have a social media marketing strategy or plan, as well as an actual overall marketing strategy or plan. You cannot go anywhere if you don't know what that is. So again, you've got to be able to outline, what your goal is for your business and who you want to reach. And inside of that, under that umbrella, what does that look like? What kind of marketing are you going to do? How much of that is going to be social media? How much of it is word of mouth, referral, in person? How much of it is getting in front of other businesses, cross-marketing, collaborating? How much of it is, doing trades or whatever that looks like? There's a lot of different things that go under this umbrella of marketing. And ideally, yes, that's what we're talking about in this podcast. And we still have 2 more after this, but this has to be highlighted as one of the things that are going to get you more clients, because you have to have a strategy. The more unique your strategy is, the better. Again, how are you standing out? What are you doing to stand out from the myriad of other whatevers there are, whether you're a photographer or a designer or whatever other kind of creative? How are you standing out in a sea of sameness? One of the intake questions on my form when people book discovery calls with me to see if the coaching that I do is going to be right for them and vice versa, one of the questions is, what is your marketing strategy? What have you already done? Because so many people come to me and they're like, I just can't get clients. And then I ask them, what have you done already? And it's very minimal. I got to tell you, it's very rare that I have a photographer come to me and give me a long list of all the different things that they have tried. Very few of you are doing a lot of different things. So experimentation is also part of this. You kind of have to throw yourself into the fire a little bit, do it messy, let go of that perfectionist stuff that so many of us have, because you've got to see if you're getting results from this marketing. The only way to tell is to put something out there. If you don't put anything out there, you can't get the feedback on whether it's working or not. Number 9, I want to touch on, and I'm just going to preface it by saying I am not an expert in this field, but it is really, really important, and that is SEO. And I know SEO is one of those topics that also makes our brains want to explode and make us want to pull our eyelashes out. But it's really not as complicated as, I feel like it's not as complicated as it used to be. But it's still a really daunting subject. So I totally get why this is something that a lot of us just don't want to deal with. But listen, if you don't want to deal with something, that's like telling the universe that it's not important to you. So if you turn around and you look at it and you say, you know what, I got to at least figure out the basics of this so that I can show up when people are searching for me in my area. SEO is important, guys. It just really is. There's a lot of different resources out there. Again, I am not an expert, and I have taken a lot of my own trainings, and I know enough to help my coaching students and point them in the right direction and help them tweak certain things on their sites and all of that. But what matters is that you are on top of it. Okay. So whether that looks like working with someone, and be careful because there's a lot of, not on the up and up SEO people out there, right? So if people are cold pitching you and your emails and DMs about how they can help you, I wouldn't go with those people. But there's a lot of reputable ones who are. So do your homework on that. But the main thing that I wanted to say is that SEO is important because, again, if people are searching for whatever you are in your area, you want to be able to come up. You want your website to rank. And again, your branding's got to be on top of it. You got to be on your game. When they do hit your website, it has to convert, ideally. But your SEO is what gets them there. And here's the other thing too. Your social media channels, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube. If you're not using YouTube, it's very, very underused. And it's still the second largest search engine because it's owned by Google. So all your social channels, they all take into account SEO. That's why captions are so important. That's why your name on all of these channels is important, right? Got to put your title in your name because that's like a header for SEO. You want all of these things to be working with you and for you, and you want to make sure that you know what keywords are working for your target audience. When they're searching for you, what are they searching for? And let me just give you another little side note tip here about TikTok. I know I harp on it a lot, but you guys, if you're a high school senior photographer, they are not going to be going to Google to find you. They're going to go to TikTok to find you. It has surpassed Google in our Gen Z clients for anything that they're searching for. If they look for anything, they're going to TikTok first. Heck, I go to TikTok first now. So you have to meet them where they are. And you got to be using SEO strategies in your TikToks as well. The last one I want to highlight today is your blog. As far as SEO goes, a blog is still very valuable for this reason. I'm not trying to add more things to your list, guys. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot going on. But just like I outline in my mini course, Repurpose, which is only $37, by the way, I teach you how to take a blog post, a long form piece of content, and turn it into many, like 25 plus smaller pieces of content. So when you approach your content from a repurposing point of view, it takes a lot of the overwhelm out of it, especially for creative, spicy brains. So that course really outlines it. It's really short. You can get through it pretty quickly, and it's really cheap. But it has a lot of value inside of it because you have to figure out a system that's going to be efficient for you and not be like recreating the wheel. Like you don't need to be recreating all of this content. Do one piece of content 1 to 4 times a month in the form of a blog. You can just do it once a month if that's what you can start with, but 1 to 4 times a month, and then use that theme for the week in all your other short form content. It's like literally the easiest thing in the world, you guys. The reason I know it works so well is because I do this and I also teach it. A lot of my coaching students, this is one of the big game changers that happens when they start working with me is we really nail down the process for them, what's going to work best for them. And when they can look at their content like, one long form piece and it's just sort of automated, we create a list and a strategy of all of these different blog posts that we're going to do over the next 3 to 4 months. Then it makes all of these smaller pieces so much easier to come up with because you can really talk about the same thing kind of over and over again and in different ways. So ideally, that's what you want to do. You don't really want to be coming up with brand new stuff constantly. What is your theme? What is your underlying purpose and theme and messaging? And then just say it over and over and over and over and over again. That's marketing. If you look at some of your favorite accounts, I bet if you just went back, you would see that theme in their business. They are basically saying the same thing over and over and over again. It's also really calming to an unconscious mind. If you want to get neuroscience-y about it, when you become known for something, it's really cool because that way your audience is actually positioning you, right? Because they've consumed some of your content and they keep getting that same message over and over. And so it feels good to their unconscious mind. And so they know what to expect from you. It also is just how the algorithms work. When you have a video that goes viral or gets a lot of views in any way, that's kind of what the algorithm thinks you're going to be talking about now. So be really careful about, what you're doing and just don't throw stuff randomly up against the wall and hopefully it sticks. Go into it with a plan and a strategy. I also use repurpose.io. I'm going to put my link for you guys in the show notes. This is a really awesome service. I think it's it might be a couple $100 a year. I can't remember what they charge for it, but I can set my content up to be repurposed automatically. So that means if I do a reel, it will automatically go to my TikTok and go to my YouTube shorts and go to my Pinterest and all of these different places. So I don't have to actually physically do it. So that's the other thing about repurposing your content and getting your marketing really dialed in is efficiency. So find processes that work for you. I'm going to link some stuff for you guys, including Metricool, which is what I use for scheduling because I love them. And you can get a lot on their free plan as well. So that wraps up our show for today. I hope that you got a ton of value from this. I really wanted to do a podcast that was specifically about all the different steps that you would need to be taking to either build or revamp your business, like all of the foundational stuff, as well as marketing across the board. Because again, this is all about getting you clients. I just see so many of you guys who do not have enough clients. And this was my intention with today's episode, was to light a fire under you to get out there and go get some clients. If you're struggling, obviously, please reach out. This is what I do all day, every day. I look under the hood of many different photography businesses, many different creative businesses, and figure out what is working, what's not working, and how we can make it work. What works for you may or may not work for someone else. So we have to figure that out specifically for you. And yeah, we can even get a lot done in a group program like Elevate. So all the links for everything that I spoke about today on today's episode are going to be listed for you. I want to hear what you have to say though. So please reach out and let me know. I love seeing all your reviews come in, guys. If you haven't left a review for the show, please do so. It is so important for our rankings and it just helps us across the board. But I wanted to read you one recently that I got from Kristen. It says, I'm a personal development and business junkie, and I'm guilty of listening to people and not taking action until I met Renee. Most mentors I've come across have some good information, but then you find out that they have kind of stumbled upon their success and what they teach doesn't translate for everyone. Renee's different. She has put in the work, continues to put in the work every day, and continues to educate herself as well. The way she teaches translates to anyone, no matter where you are in your business or your personal journey. She has her finger on the pulse. She will get you unstuck and even better, get you to dive deep into the why. I'm a huge fan and can't wait to see everything else she has to share on the podcast. Thank you so much for that awesome review. You guys, thank you so much for listening. Have an absolutely amazing week. Love you guys.